We are back. We're back. Good evening. Good evening. Hi, everybody. We are here again on this Tuesday evening. Home care business advisors in the house. Hey to everybody out there, and hey to my dear friend Brandy Sharrock-Miller out there in Hewitt, New Jersey. Hey, Miss Brandy.
Hello, hello. It's always a pleasure to be here and have these discussions with you guys. I'm
I
super
know,
excited. I'm
right?
back.
And we are never short of a conversation, right, Brandy?
Absolutely. We always have something to talk about.
Well, listen, guys, I am going to open this up in a very, very morbid statement. We have spent tirelessly hours in starting up our business. We have got in place our systems. We've got in place employees. We're now getting referrals from referral sources. We now have clients on service. We have our professional liability and our general liability in place. But what about you? What about if everything was that it turned upside down? What about that insurance for yourself? Have you ever wondered about that? We have to be prepared, guys, And today's conversation is about personal insurance options. And Brandy is sharing with us today some information about an insurance policy that we should be considering, regardless of whether we have our PL in place or our GL in place. Brandy, why is it so important for our business owners to take heed in what we should be doing when it comes to our own types of coverage?
Well, like you mentioned before, that we focus on a lot of things. We want to make sure that our employees are protected through workman's comp. We want to make sure that our business is protected with business insurance. We have a lot of things that we put in place to make sure our company is running, functioning with us or without us. But the one thing we forget is our life insurance, and we look at it like our mother and father or our grandparents' life insurance policy. It's a plan that's there where you could take cash out of, and it's used if you die. But the plans are steadily changing. And in regards to small business owners, entrepreneurs, and just the things that's available, life insurance is also changing with it. And understanding how life insurance can help with your bottom line can be the key between your business going on if you get critically ill or chronically
Absolutely.
ill, and or just continuing while if you were injured.
Sure, sure. And those are some very, very key points is that, we put in all of this hard work, we put in all of this hard times, right? It can continue past that point. And again, it's a morbid conversation, but it's a conversation that has to be had nonetheless. But Brandy, you have a great program, if you want to call it a program or a plan, for those entrepreneurs and for those business owners. Can you explain about the program?
Absolutely. So essentially it's if we're looking at our business like a business statement. We have our assets and we have our liabilities, right? On our asset side, we normally list cash as an asset, and we normally forget our key person. Our key person could be our top executives. It could be ourselves as the CEO,
Right.
CFO. It also can include highly skilled employees, employees that have certifications, or also employees that deal with customer relations. And this key man or key person policy, which is a life insurance policy, can really help us mitigate risk if something were to happen. And when I mean something, it could be, let's say they retired, let's say they died suddenly, or they left termination, whether it was through you or through them, or let's say if they were disabled. The way your business bounce from that is we use our cash, our assets. Um, so,
Right.
so the assets that we use are cash. Instead of using the cash, there's other ways you can do that. You can put in place a life insurance policy where it lists the company as the owner as well as the premium payer. And the way that works is the company decides based off, and this is something that everyone is different. Every company is different, and you would have to sit down one-on-one to really determine what's best for you and your company. But you will look at how much value they bring into the company. There's a form out there, there's a calculator out there to really come up with the dollar amount that that individual brings into the company. Once you come up with that dollar amount, you can either secure them or get the life insurance policy with a permanent policy, which is like a whole life policy, or you can get something like a term life policy.
So in essence, there's multiple different ways on how to manipulate this plan. Again, please share with us the name of the plan.
So it's a life insurance product. It's often called a key man policy or a key person, depending on the company that you're working with. There's so many different carriers that offer this. Most business owners or entrepreneurs are they're very familiar with, let's say, like a whole life or a term policy, or they're even familiar with the terminology buy-sell agreement or buy-sell policy.
Right.
Well, there's also something called a key person, and that's because that person has assurability. That means that that person adds value to your business, which allows you to put a life insurance policy on that person that can help your business in the long run.
Right. So the key points of that, Brandy, is that it doesn't have to be you as a key person, right?
No.
It's really, and how I would look at it is, who is that person that is, like you said, of value, that is bringing value add to the business. And it could be that salesperson who's bringing in, $2.3 million worth of business every year, right? Mm-hmm. So how does a person go about actually acquiring or setting themselves up with that? What is the steps? And what is required? Are there any like prerequisites that the owner has to have before they can apply and be approved?
Absolutely. So the first prerequisite is the person has to work for you. It has to be insurable interest. You have to have that insurable interest. That's the key. The person works for you. They can work for a number of days or months. You decide when you want to put that policy on the person. Also, the key is the company is the beneficiary. So if something were to happen, the money goes to the company and not to the employee that you're putting it on. So like you said, Yvette, it could be one of the top executives. It can be a key person such as an assistant that books the meetings, appointments, runs the schedules. It could be an individual that's highly trained, such as like someone with certifications. Maybe your company pay for the certifications, and you want to make sure that you're getting the value. Yes, the return of investment back. That's all it is about. Yes, I love ROI. Yes, and so the way this policy works is the cash, the assets you would use, because what will happen is the person either died, left, retired. You would need to train someone. And you're using your cash, your assets in order to train, to rehire, to you have to, let's say, pay employees more to take over that person's a client list. So your cash and your business is now seeing an economic effect because that person left. And the way the policy will work is, depending on which policy you select, is a couple of different ways you can do this. The policy will be help mitigate that risk in between. So instead of using your cash to do all the training and everything, you can use the cash from the policy to train, to hire, to bring in money that is now lost. So you use the premium, you use your after taxes dollars to pay into the policy. Again, it's based off budget and how much the employees bring it into the company. So it could range anywhere from like $20 to $30 a month, again, or more, depending on where your business stands. But the way that will work is based off the policy. For instance, the person is critically ill or chronically ill or disabled. These policies have something called their benefit riders on them. So you can get up to anywhere from like 60 to 70% of the face value and use that to train, to hire, and to help with that risk that you're now losing, that loss of revenue coming in. It can be replaced with that policy. If you have
Right.
something like a permanent policy and the person leaves and you really funded that policy, the person left or terminated them, you can take the cash value out of that policy and use that again to train, to hire, to go towards the loss of revenue because of the person. The great thing about these plans, depending on which plans you have, is these can all be tax deferred, tax-free income, which
I
is
like
huge
that.
for business. Yes, which is huge for business owners. It could be tax-free money.
So this is an area that not many people even consider. Why is that? Why is this, why is this policy and these items that are out there, these options that are out there, not readily available or considered for new owners?
Well, because as new owners, we're or entrepreneurs, and this is speaking for myself, we're used to the corporate or the we call them W-2 jobs, where we're working as an entity within a business, and so we're thinking about is the benefit package that they offered. And so when we go into opening our business, we think to ourselves, okay, what did my old employer offer me? Okay, I need to have workman's comp. Great. I need to have some form of medical insurance. And maybe I'll offer a life insurance to my employees. Or, we go down that checklist of what we're used to. But we're not used to having a conversation such as or key person's policy, because these policies are not really talked about.
Right.
They get lumped into just life insurance, and life insurance can take on so many different meanings and so many different ways in which it can help that entrepreneur. It can help in so many different ways depending on how
Right.
they
Right.
select the policy.
Right. So we have owners who are here listening, and they're probably thinking to themselves, well, I'm a startup, right? I'm working here with, home care business advisors. I'm really in the startup. When do you feel, and when would you advise that, looking for this, one man, one person policy or main man policy, when is that I knew that would make you laugh. When is the right time to bring it into play or to take it seriously?
So the right time is now. Anytime where you're signing the paper, you decided I want to go into business for myself. Your business is you're thinking about your business 5 years, 10 years from now.
Right.
So you may be a one-man show today, but tomorrow you're going to be 5, and 3 years from now you're going to be 20 and 40. So you're going to build your business like a Fortune 500, because eventually it would be a Fortune 500, company.
Right.
And
Right.
so for yourself right now, you are your key man. So you can think of yourself as the business owner and your best employee ever. And so me as myself, if I was injured, I couldn't make it into work, what would happen to my business? So what
Absolutely.
that policy does is, let's say I'm disabled. The policy, I'm able to withdraw anywhere from 60 to 70% of that policy. And I can use that money to train someone to temporarily run my business while I'm recovering from whatever disability or ailment I'm going through.
Right. So here's another question for you, Brandy, and before I forget it. Okay, so we know that insurances, they give you a hard time, right? You have a car accident, they're going to throw you through the hoops, under the bus, around the roundabout before they're going to say, okay, then I'm going to pay out again. So for a situation in this policy, again, in just my mind as a new business owner, why do I want to have it when I'm going to be taken through all the hoops, through the mud, up and down the mountaintops, and potentially not even be able to get approved for that payout? What is that process like, and what is the criteria for approval of a payout?
So it all now for the process. So I'm gonna break that up. The process to enroll in the plan, and depending on which company you go with. I'm licensed with a couple of hundreds of carriers.
Yeah.
So everyone have their own clause and things where you're right. Disclaimers, but there's a few companies out there where you're eligible to receive guarantee issued up to 250, no medical, guarantee to issue up to $1 million, no medical. It all depends on age and weight. So those are the top two. And then once you get into the policy and something were to occur, let's talk about one of the critical injuries. or like you were critically ill, you will go to your doctor, you will go to your hospital, and that paperwork you receive, you take that into your carrier and it goes through your underwriting process. Now, again, because I'm with so many different companies, their process varies depending on which company you decide to apply for. Some companies I've seen pay it in 2 days. Some companies take anywhere from like 2 weeks to 3
Wow.
months. So it all depends on the company you choose, number one. Number two is getting the information that we're asking for, right?
Right,
So if
right.
I'm asking you to go to your doctor and give me XYZ, don't give me a form that's ABC, because it will delay the process of that, that claim. So it's just helping us
Help.
facilitate getting the paper and getting that in as quickly as possible. They can also, the two companies can talk directly to each other. Let's say if the owner, the entrepreneur, the employee didn't want to be involved in the process, the doctor and the company can communicate together to, facilitate that process a little quicker.
So briefly break down for us as well, Brandy. And again, you're here, we of course know that you have so many extensive years, with AFLAC and in the insurance world. What is your role, for everybody that is out there and they say, you know what, this is something I want to pursue. Mm-hmm. What is Brandy's role in making this happen?
So my role is really just finding out who you are, what's your needs, what's your budget. It's not a one size fit all. And I need to see what size shoe you wear. I want to make sure that I'm customizing something that works for you. So my role in it is just to sit, talk with you, find out a little bit more about your business, see what your plans are in the next 2 to 5 years, because again, we're not only planning for today, we're planning for the future as well. So I want to put something in place, and I want to come back to you with multiple proposals and show you the different options that's available with multiple carriers and seeing which one is the best fit for you.
Right. Sounds good. In closing, and there's a lot of information here, and I know that, like you said before, is that there is many different carriers that you'll work with. There's many different scenarios, and not one shoe fits all. Unless it was a real nice pair of Louis, I'm gonna make them fit. I'm gonna make them fit, doggone it. But aside from that, what is that lasting? And I always ask you this, Brandy. What is that lasting piece of advice that you're going to give to our owners about preparing themselves from a personal insurance standpoint?
That lasting advice is just to look to see what options are out there. Make sure you have that full rounded financial package that you're for yourself and your company. Because remember, your company and you are two different entities, and you want to make sure you're properly setting both of you up, both the company and yourself.
Right.
So,
well, I appreciate that. We're going to be obviously, listing your information on our page. And the information that we put out onto YouTube. But for those of you who are listening and you do want to get some further information, from Brandy with regards to having some, to look at your options, please just shoot us a text message, put it into the feed here and just say, hey, here's my email address. We will make sure that you get connected with Brandy. And again, Brandy is awesome. There is no time is too much time that she will spend with you. To make sure that you get what you need. And she really and truly is that, not one shoe fits all type of a gal. So as always, I am so thankful to you, Brandy, in being here today. And for everybody else, again, please head over to our YouTube channel. Hit that like button, say that you're interested and you're excited about seeing all the information, the resources that we provide to you. If you need any more information about what we do here at Home Care Business Advisors, head over to our website, shoot us an email, info@homecarebusinessadvisors.com. And Brandy, you can take that last comment. What is your email address that we can get in contact with you?
The email address that I use all the time would be my AFLAC. So it's the Brandy, BRANDY _ Sharrock, SHARROCK @us.aflac.com.
Oh, you sounded like a CBS, CBN, CSBN anchor there. So Great job, Brandy. I thank you so very much. Let's talk again soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.